Hi guys, how you doing? Welcome to our YouTube channel. If you're watching us for the very first time, Money Africa is a platform where we crunch everything about your numbers, how to make it, how to grow it, and how to compound sustainably. My name is Oluwatosin Olasende, and I'm the founder of Money Africa. Today, we have an interesting topic. You want to hear about this. It is something that might pertain to you. It is amazing. All right, guys, enough of the hula bula. Today, we're talking about how to get your unclaimed dividend. We always hear stories like, Tosin, my parents bought shares when I was a baby. How can they retrieve their dividend? Tosin, how do I know if I have unclaimed dividend or not? We get all those questions. And in today's session, we'll be talking to you about how you can get it back. You should get it back. Your unclaimed dividend is an opportunity cost. You could be doing so much more with that money. You should get your dividend back. So guys, let's jump right into it. So let's get right into it. Before we start thinking about how to get unclaimed dividend, we need to actually talk about what is unclaimed dividend. Now, a company that is registered on a stock exchange, and for the purpose of this conversation, we're talking about the stock exchange in Nigeria. So a company that is listed on Nigeria Stock Exchange, they are now saying to themselves, we've had an interesting year, right? We want to give money back to our shareholders, to our investors, to those that actually hold shares in our company. We want to pay out dividend. Now, once they then say this is the amount of dividend we're going to give back to our shareholders, that dividend, if you do not get it in your pockets, that is unclaimed dividend. Now, remember, the pocket we're talking about here could be a bank account or could be you putting it back to buy more shares. So it has to be taken away from that bank or from that manufacturing company or from that insurance company, whichever company you invested in. You have to take that dividend and then choose or decide how to invest it. If you do not, or if you did not do this, then you have unclaimed dividend. Now remember, there are other people out there also saying, Tosin, my parents bought some dividend several years ago and they have not claimed dividend. This information can also be useful to them. You can actually guide them on how they can trace, they can track, and most importantly, they can grab back their unclaimed dividend. Now, let's do a little bit of history. We're so interested in thinking about what is the buzz about this unclaimed dividend. We went as far back as 1999 to crunch that number and actually see, you know what, how much unclaimed dividend are we actually talking about and how fast is it growing? In 1999, the unclaimed dividend was just 2 billion naira. Guess how much it is today? Guess. It surged significantly. It surged by about 8,000%. As of today, it's 170 billion naira. And we can see that unclaimed dividend bulge is growing. Every year, companies and institutions give out dividends to their shareholders and you do not claim it. That bucket is piling up and it is growing. Now, you're probably thinking, Tosin, what is the size of this 170 billion naira? Let me put it into perspective. Let me put it into context. 170 billion is what a Zenith Bank or a GTB makes as profit in an entire year. Now, imagine that amount of money just sitting down idle because people are not claiming their dividend back. Now, that is what it is. And so, if you know of your auntie, your uncle, your parents, or even yourself that is just leaving dividend sitting on the table, you should actually grab it back. It is very important that you actually claim that dividend so you can put it to use. Now, why should you claim that dividend? Number one, so you can reinvest it, right? Let's do a quick math. Let's say you had invested about 100,000 naira in a Zenith and the dividend yield is 10%, which means that about 10,000 naira should be coming into your pocket as dividend. Think of this happening 3 years in a row. That means that there's 30,000 naira sitting down, right, that you are not taking back. What are the multiple things you could have done with this money? Number one, you could take that same amount of money and buy back the shares that gave you the dividend. You could take that amount of money and diversify, right? So let's say you always wanted to invest in something else like cryptocurrency, right? You could put that money into it. Let's say you wanted to start investing in dollar denominated assets, right? Like a global share like Apple or Microsoft or something like that. These are all the other things you could be doing with that money. You could even take that money to learn a course on YouTube and start improving how much you earn, right? There's so many things that you could actually do with that money. This is the power of opportunity cost, right? And you leaving that money on the table is you saying, I can't think of any other thing to do with it. You are losing money. Think of this. Would you deliberately put an amount of money underneath your bed for years and it's doing nothing? You're not even thinking about inflation, right? Every time you do not put your money to work, what happens? Inflation is a thief. It grabs from you. It steals from you. So even that amount of money, if you look at it like 5 years ago and as of today, it doesn't have the same value anymore because inflation is, it's eating it, it's stealing from you. The average inflation rate in Nigeria is about 12%. So literally in 5 years, you have lost about 60% of the value of your money. So the reason of you just leaving money there idle, number one, you are not only losing out on an opportunity cost, meaning that you could have invested in cryptocurrency, you could have taken a course to improve yourself, you could have invested in global shares. You are not only losing out on opportunity cost. What else are you doing? You are losing money because inflation is reducing the value of that money. Every day that money sits down unclaimed, its value is what? The value, it's dropping. Let me even tell you how precious this unclaimed dividend is. Did you know that in the 2020 Finance Act, you know when everybody was talking about, oh, there's a new Finance Act, this, that, yes. So they put out a new thing, right, where they empowered the Security Exchange Commission, right, to transfer all unclaimed dividend after 6 years, right? It's called a dividend trust fund, an unclaimed dividend trust fund. This unclaimed dividend is so hot that even federal government wants to be able to borrow from it. So if that unclaimed dividend has gone on for 6 years, they want it to be transferred to a fund that the government can then borrow from. So you see how hot this money is. This money is so hot that the government is even interested and they want to borrow from it. So how much more you that own that money, you're leaving your money sitting on the table and you're not putting it to use. It's so hot that even people want to borrow it, right? So I hope with these few words of mine, I've been able to convince you to actually go and claim and get and grab your unclaimed dividend. Now, how do I start receiving my unclaimed dividend? Number one, log on to www.sec.gov.ng. It's right here on our screen, www.sec.gov.ng. Now you put in your full name and you search. So for instance, if your name is Kufowora Olatunji, type it out in full and search for it. Number two, take note of the name of your registrar, the account number, and the shares that you bought. Now it gets really interesting. Registrars are the companies and institutions that help with the distribution of dividends, right? So if you bought multiple shares, it is possible for you to identify more than one registrar underneath your name. So take note of the registrars. There could be more than one, depending on the number or the shares of you bought across different companies. Take note of the registrar, your account number, and the shares that you bought. Number three, once we've identified the registrars, the next thing that we do is that we download the e-mandate form from the registrars, right? And we fill it out. Extremely important for us to actually do that. And you need to do this for all the registrars that are underneath your name. Number four, the last but not the least, you submit this form at the bank or at your registrar and you start receiving your dividend. The beautiful thing about doing it is that once you automate it, in the future, all subsequent dividends starts coming directly to your bank account. You'll never have to do this step again. So once you do it, that's it. Now you're probably thinking, Tosin, how many years far back can I claim? I love that. It's a very good question. So let's say you, for instance, you bought the shares in 1999 or even in 2000. So we're talking about as far back as 21 years. You would only be able to claim for 12 years, right? Now you're asking, Tosin, how about the remaining 8 years? I don't know. But don't worry, there's something we love to say in finance. recover whatever you can recover. If something is gone, it's gone, move on. But whatever you can recover, grab it all. Whatever you can salvage, salvage it. So take whatever is available, and if some has expired, that's okay. Let's grab what we can. Now, I'd love to tell you a little story to finalize this scenario of why it's important for you to claim your dividend. Are you listening? Let me start. If Adamu bought 1,000 units of GTB shares in 2012 at 23 naira each, that share will be worth 23,000 naira in 2012. However, in 2020, this shares is now worth 32,350 naira. It gets interesting. GTB pays dividend of 18 naira 47 kobo. Therefore, all the dividend owed to Adamu, or we can also say Adamu would have earned a total of 18,470 naira dividend. Now, if Adamu had claimed this dividend and reinvested it every year, he would have had a total additional shares of 644 units. So the total unit of shares would have been 1,644. The value of the shares would have been 53,174 naira. This is a gain of 131% compared to the 23,000 naira he invested in 2012. So you can see the opportunity cost of doing nothing, of not claiming your dividends, of not reinvesting it. You are leaving money on the table and you are losing money. If this added any form of value to you, you know what to do. Click on our subscribe button, join us, right? So you never have to miss any of this. You can also share this video with your loved ones and let them enjoy this information. If you know anyone out there with unclaimed dividend, you need to send them this video. Once again, thank you so much for watching. We are Money Africa, and if you have not subscribed yet, click the subscribe button. This is the best time to do it. Thank you.